Do I think Jaylen Brown is going to finish this current contract as a Celtic? I do not. I think the financial burden eventually of having two Supermax guys and where they're at, and the fact that Jaylen Brown's going to be 30 next year, I think they will once again start shopping him for a younger partner for Jayson Tatum.
Can we slap a headline on that one?
Chris Gasper joining us. Your thoughts, current thoughts on your fifth-seeded Celtics, Chris, who are on pace for 48 wins, and in the last week or two have taken down the top three teams in the East, if you will. The Knicks, the Cavs, and the Pistons. How did we get here, and do you think it's sustainable?
I think we got here because you're seeing some of the complementary guys, the guys who are behind Jaylen Brown, start to play better, particularly Derek White. I go back to that game against the Pistons and the way he played in the second half there with the 25 points. And then obviously Peyton Pritchard's been pretty consistent this year, but to drop 42 against Cleveland was, and the way he shot the ball, both of those guys, even though Pritchard's contribution has been consistent, he didn't start out shooting the ball that great, especially from 3-point range. Now those guys are starting to knock down shots, make shots from three, and you're putting that on top of Jaylen Brown being fifth in the league in scoring at 29 points per game, having a career high in assists at 4.8. He's at 6 rebounds. He's shooting 50% from the field. So the fact that there's more diversity to their offense and how they can beat teams, I think that that has been really the biggest difference. I don't think that Jaylen Brown's play has changed tremendously over the last 10 games in which they're 8-2. I think it's more the guys around him. You have to give Joe Mazzulla some credit too. I think he's pushed a lot of the right buttons in terms of getting the most on a nightly basis, trying to figure out, okay, which energy guy is hot. Jordan Walsh in the starting lineup has been good, but which energy guy is hot? Is it Jordan Walsh I should go with? Is it Hugo Gonzalez I should go with? Is it Minot? He's had a pretty good feel for that so far and getting the most out of those guys. And when you look at it, it's been a nice, I think, run for the Celtics. And you see the Derek White, that this is the Derek White I think we expected from the jump, not the Derek White we got for the first fifth of the season, who was shooting 29% from three and getting called out by Jaylen Brown and blowing bunnies in the Brooklyn game.
Go ahead,
Chris. Only because we haven't asked you this in a while.
Yeah.
Do you think Tatum's coming back?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do.
And do you think they think Tatum's coming back?
That's a great question. Do they think Tatum's coming back? I think Tatum definitely thinks he's coming back. I think they have to act like he's not coming back, and that's the way they're going to behave. But ultimately, in the back of their heads, do I think that he's coming back? Yeah.
I think it's just the opposite. And, Mazz, what do you know?
I don't know
why all of
anything.
a sudden you asking
No,
this?
because I think every discussion we have on the Celtics is predicated on whether you believe Jayson Tatum's going to play this year or not. And we just haven't asked it in a while. And early as the year began, Chris, there were a lot of people, and maybe even the Celtics, maybe just before the start of the year, believing or, it certainly felt like they might hold him out for the entire season.
I think that's silly.
Well, but independent
I'm not saying you're silly, but for them to think that or anyone to think that.
Okay, but independent of that,
Achilles don't take a year and a half.
I think, but I kind of agree with Mazz in terms of there's an element of this team playing to be good enough to warrant Jayson Tatum coming back.
Exactly, that's what I'm getting at.
I know
Chris.
what you're saying.
Yes, is that all of a sudden now you look at it and they do have the number 5 seed. And hey, wait a minute now, this changes the whole equation for those people who might have been teetering.
And I'm sorry, they should have had that in their sights from the start. They should have known that if they played to their capabilities, that they would be a 5-6 seed and a viable playoff team for when Tatum comes back. It should have been part of their planning in the offseason. It should be part of the planning now. These windows in the NBA are short. There is no guarantee these guys are going to be here forever. And if you're in a decent playoff spot and Tatum comes back like he's going to, you have a reasonable expectation to get out of the East and
Definitely.
be in the NBA Finals. And that should have been their mindset before the season. It should be their mindset now.
Okay, but was it their mindset in the spring? I guess that's what I'm getting at, Chris. Because it felt to me like early on it was leaning the other way. We're going to hold them out the whole year. And now I'm wondering if that has changed.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think it's not just the fact that Tatum was injured. It's what happened in the offseason, and it looked an awful lot like a teardown. And it looked like they were kind of taking a beat from championship contention. So I hear what both of you guys are saying. I think the context of the season was bigger than just Tatum being out. It was dismantling a championship contender. On the other hand, what Felger's saying is true. The current composition of the East, if you have the Jays both healthy, you have a shot to get out of there. But this team has to put the Celtics and Jayson Tatum in a position first to do that. They have to play well enough, I think, to warrant Jayson Tatum. He's going to want to return. Like, that's his personal goal. And then there'll be some discussion, obviously, in terms of the organization, what they think is best, what makes sense. But if the team is in a position to play in the playoffs and potentially contend, then I think it's easier for them to sign off on him coming back. And by the way, when he comes back, look, I could be wrong. Who thought Steph Diggs would come back as fast as he did, play the amount of snaps he came to play right off the jump? But I would think when Tatum comes back, I wouldn't expect him to play every game right away. It might be every other game. There's going to be some planned rest in there when he does eventually come back. So you have to be a good enough team to be able to withstand that and then get to the playoffs and hope that he can kind of tilt the pendulum in your favor. He can put you over the top. But that's a long ways away. I mean, this is a nice stretch, but I mean, this is by no means guaranteed the way they play the rest of the year because their margin for error is still very slim.
Hold your thought, Mazz. Ed and Woburn, what's your question?
So, Chris, I think the interesting dynamic isn't so much the end of 2026. If Tatum plays really well this year and shooting 2-point shots, which Jayson Tatum used to shoot, the next season could be really interesting with these two playing together. And now Jaylen saying, yeah, you know, I am a number one. I can be a number one. And, you know, I'm not going to subvert my game to Jayson anymore. I'm on the same level as him, and see how that dynamic plays out, because he'll be 3 years out from his next contract. I think that is going to be the story of next year.
Okay, so we'll get to next year. What's the dynamic this year when Tatum returns, Chris?
I think it actually could be beneficial to Tatum from the standpoint of what I just said in terms of him not necessarily right off the jump playing in every game. And the way Jaylen Brown has played, Tatum doesn't come back to this team and feel like he has to throw his cape on and rescue them. You know, he can, and I don't want to say ease in. That's not the right word because I don't think professional athletes ease in, not ones on the level of Jayson Tatum, but he doesn't feel that burden right off the jump to carry the team. And I don't think it's all that dissimilar to what we've seen in the last couple of years where they've established a pretty nice equilibrium. I mean, really, go to the championship year. I mean, I know, you know, no one wants to acknowledge it, but the first couple of rounds, Jayson Tatum wasn't their best player. He wasn't great. And I know he did things other than scoring that mattered. I get it, but he wasn't the full Jayson Tatum. And that was okay because they had Jaylen Brown and they had other guys there who could help him. So this is not a situation like Giannis in Milwaukee where you have to sort of carry the entirety of the team. I don't think it's really going to be that big a deal in terms of Tatum coming back and there's going to be some issue with Jaylen Brown. How many years did we talk about whether they can play together? How many years did we spend on that? Can they coexist together? Can they not? They found a nice equilibrium. They won a championship.
Okay, but
why would they
Chris,
lose that all of a sudden?
And I don't think they will. But don't act like it's not fair to ask the question. I mean, Jaylen Brown is.
I wasn't acting like that. I'm just saying why.
There's a little tone in there, you know. Like Jaylen Brown just said in his own words that he was questioning his viability here and should he stay and should he go. So like, it's a totally fair conversation, and it's worth asking at every turn. Because as I said,
if you need content, sure, let's fill some airtime.
No, because it's legit. Because in the NBA, these guys, all of them, are flight risks. It's the way the league is, and it's a totally legit conversation. So,
okay, but let me just give a little context to the Jaylen Brown thing, though. And I know we were talking about with Tracy McGrady on the that was based on the Celtics continuously shopping him. So it was like he's never been at a point where he's said, I don't want to be here, other than based off of situations where they've indicated they're going to move on from him. So that's sort of the situation. And by the way, do I think Jaylen Brown is going to finish this current contract as a Celtic? I do not. I think the financial burden eventually of having two Supermax guys and where they're at and the fact that Jaylen Brown's going to be 30 next year, I think they will once again start shopping him for a younger partner for Jayson Tatum. But it's not like he's been one of those guys who has said, I want to get out of here. It's been based off the way the team has treated him which is not as an equal partner to Tatum and shopping him in these deals.
Well, fine. And his issue isn't with Tatum; it's with the dynamic of his role. It's fine. These are all topics that every NBA team deals with, including this one. So
can we slap a headline on that one and put it on our web?
Buried the lead there. So,
Gasper, Brown will not finish this contract with the Celtics.
How many years does he have? How many years does he have left?
Good question.
3? Yeah.
Or his career will not finish his career.
No, contract. He said contract.
Did he say contract?
I said contract, yeah.
3 years left on this one.
That's my gut feeling. I mean, that's not based off of, anything that I've heard. I just think when you look at the finances and where they're at and with a different ownership group and how taxing it can be, both from a salary cap standpoint and just a raw dollar standpoint, to have 2 Supermax players, they will, I think, eventually peel him off for a younger, cheaper running mate for Jayson Tatum. That's my opinion.
I love the direction this is going in because it's going to force them to play Tatum. And if it doesn't, they're going to look like a-holes. So you ask your team to hang in there, and then we'll make the judgment. And all of a sudden, they get to the point where they're on a, as you said, 48-win pace, and Tatum's ready to come back, and you're going to put the brakes on. You will look like a complete, total jackass. If you're the Celtics, he's going to have to play at that point. So I root for them to keep doing what they're doing.
100%. I get frustrated with anyone who thinks the opposite. Tatum, you have to reward Tatum for his hard work. You've got to reward the players for playing hard in his absence.
Absolutely.
And that's the way a healthy, functioning, good organization works. It's just about winning. And if you do anything other than that, I just think you're asking for trouble. And the Celtics should be better than that. And I think they will be.
Yeah, and from their standpoint...
It's why it frustrates me that they dismantled so much of the roster. Like, this could be another contending year. It should have been that approach from the start.
And from their standpoint, however far they go this spring is a better start for next year with some of these younger players, whether it's Walsh or anybody else. They all get an extra. It's the same crap we were saying about the Red Sox. Get these guys into the postseason, let them play, and let them burn off some of the newness of playing in the playoffs.
And it's kind of the same thing for Tatum along the line of championships. Whether you think you can win a championship or not, don't you want him to get his feet wet with this injury this year so he goes into the offseason, he has a normal offseason. He's not shaking off any rust in 26, 27 when you will have both Jays in your lineup under contract and you can take a real run at a championship. So it makes sense there as well. I mean, look, they should do it because the East is open, but they should also do it from a championship-driven standpoint of you want to give Tatum the best platform, the best launching pad for next year as well, and that's getting him back on the court this year, shaking off some of the rust, some of the cobwebs, maybe getting some of the trepidation out of his head, let him have a normal offseason where it's not about the Achilles, and just come back and be ready to go in 26, 27.